Number 1. My previous job was one of those dodgy market-like stalls in the middle of the shopping center. At the time, I was 16, turning 17, and because we didn't have a store phone, when orders came in, I had to use my own phone to text customers. I texted this person about his order. He came in like a normal customer, paid for his stuff, but he stayed to chat for a bit. I'm a chatty person, and I found people harmless because I was so naive. This guy was like 50, could easily be my dad, and I thought he just wanted some company because he was lonely. He then proceeded to show pictures of his car to me, stating it was James Bond's car. As I pretended to care, he asked me if I wanted a lift home. Of course, red flags went off. I politely declined. He stayed for a bit longer and then headed off. Didn't think much of it. Work finished, and I headed to dinner with a friend. Suddenly, I received a message from this old guy asking me how my day was and what I was planning to do. Again, I thought he was a harmless old guy that wanted some friends, so I replied something like, staying at a friend's house and then going to the beach. He then replied, "Please be careful. You have such beautiful skin. Don't ruin it." Something creepy like that, at which point I was super uncomfortable, so I just didn't reply. He then proceeded to message me a bit more, which was even more creepy, about how pretty I was, so I just replied something along the lines, "I'm only 16. The things you're saying to me make me very uncomfortable. I thought we could be friends, but that's all." In which he replied, "Yeah, I just want to be friends, blah blah," which was utter crap. He didn't bother me much afterwards, except for an occasional seasonal greeting, i.e. Valentine's Day. He came in the store a couple more times, and I just kind of brushed him off. After a few weeks, my manager decided to move me to another store, so I stopped working in that center. Funny enough, once I transferred, this creepy guy would walk past and kind of look in, and then realizing it's me, he'd come in and greet me. I was so uncomfortable, especially since he knew I had transferred or something. It happened quite a bit, but I acted super disinterested. It wasn't like he was buying anything. A few more visits, he asked me if I was 18 yet. Of course I lied, and I was like, "I'm 18 next year." He was genuinely shocked because I'm pretty sure he was waiting for me to turn 18 so it would be legal. He left the store after that and never came back. And then I quit. I guess I wasn't worth waiting for. Number 2. This is a true story. I work at a zoo, which is a pretty popular attraction, especially during the summer. We get a lot of tourists and summer camps. People often ask me questions which I have no problem answering. I am a people person. I work in different parts of the zoo. Every shift is different, and I can be moved at any time depending on where they need me. Most of the time, my boss schedules me in a gift shop. There is one gift shop in particular that people rarely visit because it is hidden behind bamboo and off on a far path. I get maybe 30 to 40 people on a busy day, which is nothing compared to our other shops. I was working, and it was really slow, as usual. I was playing on my phone and sitting in a children's fold-up camping chair in the corner of the room, off camera so I wouldn't get in trouble. A man walked into my store alone, which isn't weird. Usually they are lost or looking for a bathroom or for directions, which is something I direct people to often. I walked over to the counter and greeted him. He smiled and walked up to me holding a map in his hand. I figured he just needed directions to an exhibit or a restaurant. He asked me where the snake exhibit was. I asked to see the map, and I got a marker out and drew a star where he was, my shop location, and a line leading to the snake exhibit, and I marked it with a star. He didn't take the map back as I held it out to him. He just stared at me, smiling, his eyes wide and creepy. About a minute passed, and I asked if he needed any more help. He finally spoke again and asked me if I ever got scared in the shop by myself. I laughed and said no. The reason I don't get scared is because there are literally cameras everywhere in this place, every angle of every store, restaurant, and exhibit. There are even cameras hidden in the trees throughout the park to make sure people aren't up to no good. Plus, we have 4 to 5 security guards on duty every day, and they make rounds. I have never had a reason to be scared. I am a small girl, 4 foot 10 inches in height. The reason I thought he might have asked was in case any animals got out, which even if they had, we have protocols to follow and tons of workers and keepers. He asked if I had any creeps or weirdos come in the shop and give me a hard time, and if it scared me because I was all alone in this hidden shop. I again said no, and that we have people come in all the time, and that it was a really busy store. I lied because I knew that no one ever came in the store, and I wanted him to get bored and leave. Long story short, he asked me for my phone number and wouldn't leave. I refused politely and said I don't give my number out to strangers, and I was working, so it would be inappropriate. He was in his 40s or so and was fat and creepy looking. Even if I was not at work, I would not have given him my number. He asked me if I had a boyfriend, and I told him that I did, so that he would leave. Finally, people came into the store and wanted to buy stuff, and I thought that was my lucky break for him to get out, but he still stood there at the counter, smiling wide-eyed, asking me over and over for my phone number. I finally told him that I was closing and started turning the lights off. We really had another hour open. I just wanted him to leave. And finally he did. I got home and forgot all about him. I played with my dogs, ate some food, and binge-watched Netflix. Around 9 p.m. I got a call from a number I didn't know. I screen my calls for people I know, so of course I didn't pick up for someone I didn't know. If people leave voicemails, I listen to them, and if it is important, I will call back, and if not, I ignore it. The first call and voicemail was from the guy from the store earlier that day. He seemed angry that I didn't answer and asked me why I didn't want to talk to him. In the span of 2 minutes, I had 5 missed calls, all from this guy. He left me 2 more voicemails, one of him breathing heavily like he was extremely angry. The other saying that if I didn't want to talk to him, to call him back and let him know. I didn't know how this guy got my number to begin with, so I wasn't about to call him back. I didn't owe him anything. I told my friend on instant message and went to bed since I had to work early the next day. I woke up to 35 missed calls, 5 from his number and 30 from a blocked number. Most of the missed calls happened 2 or 3 times in the same minute. I had 4 text messages from his number. The first said, "Why don't you want to talk to me?" The second said, "Why are you ignoring my calls?" And the third said, "If you want me to leave you alone, say the word." And the last one said, "Are you working today?" Afraid he would come and stop into my shop again, I texted him back saying that he was a nice customer and I was happy to help him with the directions to the snake exhibit, but that I had a boyfriend and I wasn't interested. I lied. I don't have a boyfriend. And I also asked him how he got my number, since I know it isn't on any social media. He avoided my questions and kept calling me. I didn't answer any of them. He texted me back asking me why I was leading him on and why I was wasting his time. I didn't know what to do. He wouldn't leave me alone and was scaring me. I called out sick for the next couple of days because I was afraid he would again come into the shop and hurt me. I didn't know what this guy was capable of. I mean, we had only had that one encounter in person, and then he goes off on me and stalks my phone. I finally blocked his number, but it doesn't stop him from calling my number by blocking his. It's been 3 weeks and he calls me 20 times a day on a blocked number. I know it has to be him because before this happened, my phone never went off. I am afraid it will come back and hurt me. He still calls me every day, multiple times a day, leaving me messages of heavy breathing or muffled yelling. Creepy guy from my shop? Let's not meet again.